Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishnu Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So we are continuing the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Sloka number 25. Just before this, we saw how Krishna was talking about the four kinds of people that they surrender to him, four kinds of people that will not surrender to him, and also the aspect of who will do the this one. mm, Demigod worship. Those who are less intelligent, they will do demigod worship, and those who are without any intelligence, they consider him to be the avyakta or unmanifested form and things like that. And we saw that how elaborate purport Srila Prabhupada gave for this particular thing, because this is one sloka which the Mayavadis, the 24th is a sloka which Mayavadis use for wrong interpretation, and then to prove that the Lord doesn't have a form, and it's a very great offense. And for the devotees, the Lord's form is so pleasurable, and they have they meditate upon the Lord's form as transcendental, and that gives a lot of it gives a lot of pleasure to the devotees to worship the personal form of the Lord. But then the Mayavadis, they tell that this form of the Lord is made of material nature. So then, no, it is that's a very offensive kind of a statement. So naturally, a Vaishnavacharya will give a long purport for such a thing. So that's how the 24th sloka is very large purport was there. And now we'll get into 25th sloka. नाहं प्रकाशः सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृतः मूढोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको माम् अजमव्ययम्. So na aham prakashah sarvasya. I don't reveal myself to everyone. Yoga maya samavritah. So no, I am hidden behind the curtain of yoga maya. No. So like we see that I am never manifested to the foolish. Mudoyam. Right? Na abhijanati. So like I'm never manifested to foolish and na abhijanati, unintelligent. Hmm. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Right? So lokoma, ajam and avyayam. Ajam means ja means to take birth. Aja means like no one who doesn't take birth, no who's beyond the birth and death cycle of birth and death. So ajam and avyayam. Avyayam means inexhaustible, that which cannot be destroyed. So that is called avyayam. So the Lord is unborn and inexhaustible, infallible, right? So such a kind of a personality. But then they say that okay, the Lord is something that is no Lord's form is something that is created, at certain point in time. Okay. So now translation. I never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Purport. It may be argued that since Krishna was visible to everyone when he was present on this earth, how can it be said that he is not manifest to everyone? But actually, he was not manifest to everyone. When Krishna was present, there were only a few people who could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we can see that many people actually ask that, can you show me God and things like that. Even if God were to come directly, very few can understand that He is God, right? So it is not possible for people to understand that He is God. And then in the assembly of Kurus, when Shishupal spoke against Krishna's being elected president of the assembly, Bhishma supported him. Uh, Bhishma supported Krishna and proclaimed him to be the supreme god. Similarly, the Pandavas and a few others knew that he was the supreme, but not everyone. He was not revealed to the non devotees and the common man. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, but for his pure devotees, all men consider him to be like themselves, you know. So that means all men consider Krishna to be like, he's just like any other person. Um, he was manifest only to his devotees as the reservoir of pleasure, but to others, to unintelligent non-devotees, he was covered by his internal potency. So the Lord doesn't reveal himself to everyone in that way. So in the prayer of Kunti, in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.19, it is said that the Lord is covered by the curtain of Yogamaya, and thus ordinary people cannot understand him. This Yogamaya curtain is also confirmed in Ishopanishad, mantra 15, in which the devotee prays, Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam pukam tatvam pushan apavruno satya dharmaya drishtaye. O my Lord, you are the maintainer of the entire universe, and devotional service to you is the highest religious principle. Therefore, I pray that you will also maintain me. Your transcendental form is covered by Yoga Maya. The Brahma Jyoti is covering of the internal potency. Hmm. So the Lord is covered by the Brahma Jyoti or the internal potency. And in this way, like the Lord is not visible to everyone. And here in the Ishopanishad, the devotee is praying that Hiranmayena Patrena. So like that very, very glowing effulgent rays of your body is actually not allowing me to take your darshan. So, and then he's telling that, no, please remove this so that I can see you. No, that's the prayer that this devotee is actually offering to the Lord. So in that way, we can see that the Brahma Jyoti is the covering of the internal potency. May you kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Sachidananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge. So that is why we print the Ishopanishad and we distribute widely. It's because generally the Upanishads doesn't directly talk about the form of the Lord. It has a very, very roundabout way of explaining the Lord. So it says that it will generally say, even in Ishopanishad also, when all these Upanishads, all the Vedanta Sutra, everything is talking about that absolute truth. So all the Vedic literature is talking about that absolute truth, and everybody is searching for that absolute truth, and hardly anybody gets proper information. So it is mentioned in the Ishopanishad like this. It is mentioned like Ashna Viram Shuddham Apapa Viddham. Like it's like that person who doesn't have veins, and the absolute truth doesn't have veins, blood, and muscles and things like that. So it doesn't have. It's like all purest Shuddham Apapa Viddham, and it's like prophylactic or antiseptic. No, Prabhupada actually translates like that. So it is the Lord is not just pure. Anybody comes in contact with him, they become pure. So these kind of statements, like the Upanishads, generally they explain a very, very, very roundabout way of this one, all these aspects. No, this is not the Lord, this is the Lord, this is not the Lord, this is the Lord. Like, no, they will talk about things like that, and they will always talk about that absolute truth. So no, that's the way they will address. So that's why Upanishads, in the Upanishads, Ishopanishad is something that which comes somewhere closer to the devotional this one, wherein it talks about saying like the in the last sloka of this one, it says that your glowing effulgence is like hampering my darshan of you. No, please remove that so that I can know your mukam. That thing comes here, right? Hiran satyasyapi hitam mukam, right? So I want to see your face. So absolute truth and face. This is something like a very, very strong bouncer for the Mayavadis. How can an absolute truth can have face? It's like just Brahman. So then they find it very difficult. And Gita, so Krishna is like making them clean bold, but still they manage to give some commentary to Gita. But Bhagavatam is very difficult for them to give commentary on, right? So this is, and that's why they say like discount Bhagavatam, saying, oh, this is some sentimental literature, we should not take it. But actually speaking, the Vedanta Sutras is given by Vyasadeva, and the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the author himself, that is Vyasadeva, is no Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why he starts with the opening sloka as what is that? Janma Deshayataha. No, that is a Vedanta Sutra actually. Janma Deshayaton Vayaditarata Bhikneshwarat. So this is how the first sloka of Bhagavatam starts, but it starts with the Vedanta Sutra, Janma Deshayataha. And then it ends with a Gayatri, no? So Satyam Param Dhimahi, right? So these actually indicate it is not just a Purana. So generally Puranas are put in a very, very, means the general philosophers, they put Puranas in a very lower level. So, but then Puranas are also as good as or as equivalent as the Vedas, but then they treat it very low. Okay, Puranas is like just some historical accounts. No, we want to see what the Upanishad says. They keep the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra in the very, very high level. And also Bhagavad Gita also, they keep it at very high level. So these three, they call it as Prasthanatraya. So the three very important books, Gita, Upanishads, and Vedanta Sutra. So these things, they take it to be the conclusive, ultimate conclusive books of knowledge. So anything, and in that also, like the Mayavadis, they have a particular, this one, they have few sutras of the Vedanta Sutra as their, what do they call? They call something special for that. So they just have that for their interpretation. Anywhere there is like this face comes or some personal attributes of the Lord comes, they'll say, okay, this is let's go to our reference. Where is our reference? Our reference is that the Lord is impersonal and we and the Lord are the same. So these are all some statements which we have to work on. So we will not accept it directly, right? So when the Vaishnavas, they also have certain important shlokas, certain important phrases. So they stick on to that. And wherever impersonal kind of statements come, they'll say, okay, fine. So the Lord as a person, Lord is a person, and we can do devotional service to him. And these all statements have to be interpreted. So it's like the Vedic body of knowledge has all kind of statements. So it's like a devotee of the Lord, he views the scriptures in a particular way. And the Mayavadis, they view the scriptures in a particular way. So the both of them, they have a complete different way of seeing the scriptures. So that is why, just a minute, I'll just pause for me. So, both of them, they have a different way of interpretation and different way of looking at the whole thing. And somebody may say, okay, that means if I want to have some other kind of idea, I can also have, the scriptures have so many statements, I'll also keep one reference point for myself and I'll interpret the whole scriptures based on that reference point. So that's where the whole, this one is, wherein the parampara system comes into picture. Otherwise, no, the scriptures are like Nigama Kalpataror, Galitam Phalam. So this is Nigama Kalpataror means, Nigama means Vedic literatures, and Kalpataror, Taror means tree, and Kalpataror means Kalpaviksha. So that means anything you want. You want to be a hardcore materialist, scriptures will give you idea. You want to be a Mayavadi, scriptures will give you idea. You want to be a devotee, the scriptures will give you idea. So any conclusion you want, you can take from scriptures. So then what's the point of scriptures? Like, just it's just malleable, and anybody, if they want, they can just do anything in the scriptures. So then that's where the parampara system comes, wherein the parampara starts from the Lord himself, and then it comes down in this one. So like we have in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna says, he establishes the parampara system very, very solidly in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So that actually stumps all these other ideas. I can have my reference point. So then what's the point? Like, there is anything and everything can be, screwed out of scriptures. So, evam parampara praptam imam raja rishyo viduhu. Sakalene mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Right? So this is like this knowledge comes in parampara, and then first 4.1. What is 4.1? What is 4.1? Uh, Imam vivashvate yogam. Imam vivashvate yogam. So this yogam, this knowledge of the scriptures, imam vivashvate yogam, proktavan aham avyayam. No, then Vivaswan Manuve Praha, Manur Ikshvaka Ve Brave. So that knowledge is passing down, passing down in the parampara, and that same knowledge I'm giving it to you. No, that's what Krishna is telling. And it should be understood in the parampara. No, that's a very important thing. So, what Krishna meant for giving this knowledge is something that is very special. No, Krishna wanted to save the living entities, and he has a particular purpose for giving this knowledge, right? So, now, for example, if I give some self-defense mechanism, no, to one of my close persons, and self-defense mechanism, maybe he's carrying a knife or something like that, and then he is passing on that self-defense mechanism to another person, and then the third person or fourth person, they, instead of using it as a self-defense mechanism, a knife is there and I can do anything with a knife, right? So knife is given to the first person with an understanding that you're going to use it only for self-defense and nothing else, and it is passed on to the next generation also in the same way. No, this knife is given to you for your self-defense, and in the third generation, what happens? Okay, knife is there. Knife is, I can do so many things with this knife. Why only self-defense? So then the whole thing is gone, right? So in the same way, Krishna gave this knowledge with a particular purpose and particular way to interpret this knowledge. And we cannot just go out of the way and then do anything and everything with this knowledge, right? So that's how it is very, very important that we understand the principles in parampara. Otherwise, scriptures have so many ways to interpret, so unlimited ways to interpret. So that's it's a never ending story. Like, somebody may argue, oh, this way also we can interpret, and Sanskrit is such a deep subject, and the roots can be brought about in so many different ways actually. So the meanings of the roots can be brought about in so many different ways. So that's why, like, we should stick on to the parampara and we should hear only from parampara. Otherwise, this knowledge can be interpreted in so many different ways, right? Okay, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in its transcendental form of bliss and knowledge is covered by the internal potency of Brahma Jyoti. Even the scriptures also covered, scriptures also are non-different from the Lord, and they are also covered by the internal potency of the Lord, right? Until unless we hear it from a devotee, we will not be able to understand the scripture. If we can stand upside down, we will not be able to understand the scripture. So we should hear it from a devotee of the Lord. So that is when we will be able to understand the internal aspects, and with the mood of service, that's when we will be able to understand. Otherwise, we will not be able to penetrate, into the meaning of the scriptures. Okay, and the less intelligent impersonalists cannot see the supreme on this account. Also in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14:7, there is a prayer by Lord Brahma: O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, O Master of all mystery, who can calculate your potency and pastimes in this world? You are always expanding your internal potency, and therefore no one can understand you. Learned scientists and learned scholars can examine the atomic constitution of the material world or even the planets, but still they are unable to calculate your energy and potency, although you are present before them, right? So this is like Lord Brahma in the 10th canto 14th chapter, means it's in the Brahma Vimohan Leela. So after Brahma steals all the cowherd boys and the calves, so then Krishna remanifests them, and Brahma is bewildered seeing that, and then he's offering prayers now. So when he's offering prayers, he's telling that no, the material scientists or great personalities in the material world, like Brahma is the real great personality. He knows every inch of the whole creation, and then Lord could do something which Brahma is not aware of. So it's like whole universe is like body of Brahma. So anything happens anywhere in the universe, Brahma will get to know. And Lord created a whole set of cohort boys and calves, and Brahma didn't even know what's happening there. And he's seeing, like, no, without me having a cognizance, something has happened in this universe. So how is it possible? So then he's actually offering this prayer that we can actually count the unlimited atoms which are there in this universe, but it is not possible to calculate how great you are. That's how he's offering this prayer. So the Supreme Personality of God at Lord Krishna is not only unborn but also avyaya, inexhaustible. His eternal form is bliss and knowledge, and his energies are all inexhaustible. That means, if Krishna has created 100 universe, means his power is gone, finished. You know, he cannot do anymore. So he has hit his limits. That's not possible. He's inexhaustible. Everything about him is unlimited, right? So that is why the Ishopanishad, the what is that? The auspicious invocation before the first sloka of Ishopanishad. There is an auspicious invocation on that. So which talks about like Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avasishyate. So that means this is the Lord is complete, and even if you take so many complete units out of the Lord, so this universe is a complete unit. We ourselves are a complete unit. No, we can manage ourselves, right? So we know what to take inside, how to do things. Like we are a complete unit. So this universe is a complete unit. Like there's so many complete units. Many universes, many planets have come about from the Lord. So still the Lord remains the same complete. There is no diminution. So sometimes the Mayavadis give the example. They take a paper, they tear and throw it off, everywhere. See, where is the paper now? Paper is everywhere. So where is that original paper? It just got distributed. Right? So their understanding is, okay, the Lord divided himself into so many energies and so many planets and so much of creation. Now he's no more. He's just divided everywhere. Right? So that's like this one. So here this sloka, it actually refutes that by the word avyayam. No, mam, like what does the Lord says? Loko mam ajam avyayam, right? So I'm unborn and I'm inexhaustible. So a very very important point about the Lord. Okay, text 26. Vedaham samathithani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. So Vedaham, I know everything. Samathithani, no, in full, no, Samathithani. And then Vartamanani. So means Vartaman Kal means like it's the present tense, right? And then Cha Bhavishyani. Bhavishya means like future. And Cha Bhutani, no? Bhutani means like Bhutkal, like, no, it's past tense, right? And Mam tu Vedana Kaschana. So I know the past, present, and future in full. But then about me, nobody knows. Mam tu Vedana Kaschana. So, like, oh, Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows. Right? So here the question of personality and impersonality is clearly stated. If Krishna, the form of the personality of Godhead, where Maya, material, or the impersonalists consider him to be, then like the living entity, he would change his body and forget everything about his past life. So this is one very important statement that Prabhupada often says, is that we forget things because we change bodies. The Lord doesn't forget things because he doesn't change bodies. Right? So that's one very important principle that Prabhupada actually makes, because we change bodies at every second. Every second new cells are born and old cells are destroyed. Right? So that thing is happening. And every second we are changing our body. And because of that, every second we remember, we forget also, things. So it's like we are not avyayam. We are, we are limited. So, and the Lord, he doesn't change bodies, and because of that, he can remember, everything that has happened in the past, and that is happening in present, and that will happen in the future. So everything he knows about. Okay, anyone in this with a material body cannot remember his past life, nor can he foretell his future life, nor can he predict the outcome of his present life. Therefore, he cannot know what is happening in the past, present, and future. Unless one is liberated from material contamination, he cannot know past, present, and future. Right? So This is how this liberated souls, they can actually see the past, present, and future by the grace of the Lord. No, the Lord knows everything, past, present, and future, and the liberated souls also know by the grace of the Lord. So, unlike the ordinary human being, Lord Krishna clearly says that he completely knows what happened in the past and what's happening in the present and what will happen in the future. In the fourth chapter, we have seen that Lord Krishna remembers instructing Vivaswan, Imam Vivasvate Yogam, Proktavan Ahamabhyam, Vivaswan Manuve Praha, Manu Rikshvakave Bravit, right? So, Vivaswan, the sun god, millions of years ago, no, the Lord instructed and he remembers. And Krishna knows every living entity because he is situated in every living being's heart as the super soul. So we don't know our past, what all we have did, but Krishna knows everything clearly. You know? And we don't know what we are going to do in the future, but Krishna knows. You know? So then somebody may ask, like, what about karma? Then what's my choice? Like Krishna knows everything. It's all fixed. No, it's dynamic, but still Krishna knows. So it's quite dynamic, but still Krishna is super dynamic. Right? So he knows everything. So that's something beyond our imagination. And how Krishna can know all these things which are dynamic in future. So but he knows it. So how he knows it, we don't know. That's why he's God. Mm. So Krishna knows every living entity because he is situated in every living being's heart as super soul. But despite his presence in every living entity as super soul and his presence as the supreme personality of Godhead, the less intelligent, even if able to realize the impersonal Brahman, cannot realize Sri Krishna as the supreme person. So here, one interesting observation we can see that we see that Krishna knows everything in the past, present, and future. It's like huge memory. Huge memory means huge memory. And previously we had this apprehension about we used to have use floppy disks or some small computers and things like that, wherein the memory is limited, and always like we used to work on the data size and things like that. So nowadays, like you just upload on YouTube and keep uploading, keep uploading, keep uploading, and just it just keep going. And this, from where this is coming, this is just an imitation of the Lord. The Lord has an ever expanding memory, and like here, the living entities also want to imitate the Lord, and they also want to have an ever expanding this one memory of things, right? So that's a problem actually. Okay. Certainly, the transcendental body of Sri Krishna is not perishable. He is just like the sun, and Maya is like a cloud. Hmm. So, a very important example. I think in the Bhagavatam first canto, we kind of discussed this example. So, how the Lord is like the sun and Maya is like the cloud. So, in the material world, we can see that there is the sun and that there are clouds and different stars and planets. The clouds may cover all these in the sky temporarily, but this covering is only apparent to our limited vision, right? So that means if a cloud is there in my line of vision towards the sun, it can obstruct me from seeing the sun. But can the cloud cover the sun itself? Sun is so huge and it's not possible to cover the sun. And no, so in that way, like the this is a very important example. The cloud can only cover me, from seeing the sun. The cloud cannot cover the sun, right? So the sun is like super this one. So like when we say that Krishna is covered by Maya, that means Krishna is overcome by Maya. No, he's like covered by Maya. So then he said, no, 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 my vision is covered by Maya. Krishna cannot be covered by Maya. Krishna is super huge. No, he cannot be covered by Maya. So that's why this example is given. So the cloud may cover all these things in the sky temporarily, but this covering is only apparent to our limited vision, not for the Lord. Right? So the sun, moon, and stars are not actually covered. Similarly, Maya cannot cover the Supreme Lord. By his internal potency, he is not manifest to the less intelligent class of men. As it is stated in the third verse of this chapter, out of millions and millions of men, some try to become perfect in this human form of life. And out of thousands and thousands of such perfected men, hardly one can understand what Lord Krishna is. Even if one is perfected by the realization of impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma, he cannot possibly understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, without being in Krishna consciousness. So it's very nice sloka that the Lord is covered by the yoga maya, and without the mercy of the Lord, we will not be able to see him. No, we practice Krishna consciousness by the way of service, by the way of chanting, by the way of following the instructions given by Lord Krishna in the Guru Parampara. So we follow that, and then we can, we can actually approach him. We can actually get a chance to see him. So otherwise, on our own endeavor, it's not possible. Okay, text 27. इच्छाद्वेष समुत्थेन द्वंद्व मोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप. O Scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. Right? So this is like very important. This one, all living entities born into delusion, uh, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. No, icha dvesha samuttena. No, samuttena means like arising from. No, icha and dvesh is the two kinds of feelings that are there. Icha means like hankering to get something, and dvesh, likes, and dvesh means like what do you call dvesh? Dvesh means like, anyway, we'll see that's hate. No, so desire and hate, and dvandva. No, this is like duality, dvandva, and uh, dvandva mohena bharata, right? So dvandva mohena bharata, and then sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. So this icha dvesha samuttena dvandva mohena bharata. So in this way, like there is duality that is there, and then this is actually creating the problem, and this is coming from where? No, it's arising from the delusion is arising from desire and hate. No, so this dvandva is what we are trying to overcome, and we want to be in Krishna consciousness, right? So the real constitutional position of the living entity is that of the subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. Just a minute. I'm just in a class. I'll just call you back in 10-20 minutes. Hare Krishna, just a minute. Okay, so I have got another urgent work to be done. So I'll just, no, we will continue from here tomorrow. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Book Marathon ki jai, Hare Krishna.